Hello and welcome back to my channel. Thank you so much for being here. Today I'm sharing 21 spring and summer DIYs which will hopefully inspire you in your decorating this year. So here they are. Today I'm sharing a spring vignette. This is to be put on a tray, and this is the tray that I'm using, something that I purchased at the Goodwill for $1. And I'm just showing here that there's some cracks in it, and I'm filling those in with this wood filler. And once that was all done, I decided I wanted to make the tray a little bit darker. So I'm going to use this classic gray by Minwax and just go over it. And once I was done with this process, I let it sit for about a minute and then I wiped it down. And this is how it looked with all the gray filled into the spaces, and I liked how it turned out. So now I'm taking these porcelain pieces that I purchased at the Goodwill. I have these two pieces here, and then I have a third piece. So what I'm doing is making these have words on them in the Rae Dunn style. So this is my Rae Dunn dupe, and I'm giving myself some guidelines with this painter's tape. I'm just going to write the word love on this. I wrote sweet on the smaller jar because it's more like for like sugar or jelly or something like that, something sweet. And this is the outcome of that. And now I'm just assembling the tray, and I'm using this piece of burlap that I had left over from a previous project. So I have these flowers that I already had, and I got that little piece of greenery from a bushel that I had from the Dollar Tree. And then I had this little piece of greenery that I cut off of a wreath that I'm using for my spring decor. And then I cut off several other little pieces. I'm going to scatter those around. And then I'm putting the sweet jar back together on the tray. And this is that third piece I mentioned that I also had from the Goodwill. And I'm just putting a flower in there. And then I'm just adding in the rest of the little greenery pieces. And everything is complete. So this is where I'll be keeping this in my kitchen on this little table here. And this is the tray and how everything looks a little up close. This is one of our front doors. This is the one that does not get used. It's really just used as a window. We open it to get fresh air. These are flowers that I purchased at Michael's. I got the gold bucket from the dollar section of Target. I already had this foam, which is what I used to push the flowers in. Had the ribbon from Joann's, and then attached it with a command hook. Put the flowers in a circular arrangement to look kind of like a flower pot. And that's what's on this front door here. Being this is the oval shaped door, I like to put something different on this door versus the other door. So this is the square door. This is the door that we use. I got this board, this white, it's really like a box, almost like a frame, and covered it with white material just to hide where I glued the flowers on, but the same flower just from the other package, and added these pieces here that have different sayings on them. They were white. I spray painted them gold. As you can see, the color scheme is white, gold, and pink. Attached this thick yarn as the way to hang it. And this is the decor piece for the front door. I already had this leftover plywood from a previous project, so I spray painted it with this paint. It's a copper color. I was going for rose gold, but I ended up spraying it, then wiping some pink paint over it, and then doing a light dusting of the spray paint again to try to give it the rose gold look, because I couldn't find any rose gold paint. The spray paint was $3, also from Hobby Lobby. These letters came from Michael's, and they were half price at $4 with a coupon. This turquoise paint that I'm using to paint over the black was 50 cents, also from Hobby Lobby. So to stick with the same color scheme, I did not want black letters, so I'm painting them turquoise. These were self-adhesive letters, so once those were on, I went ahead and glued on some of the flowers. These larger petal flowers came from the dollar store, so I did spend another $1 on those. And I didn't even use all the flowers from Hobby Lobby or the Dollar Tree on this plaque, but I'll round up and call it $4 for the flowers. Then I got these little studs from the dollar store. Got these flower bundles from Hobby Lobby. I'm just pulling all the petals off, and I'll be using them to create hanging flowers from this clear plastic-like thread. And I'm threading each piece through the little stem that's left behind. And I'm creating 11 rows of flowers that will hang above the mantle. I went through and threaded each of the flowers with no particular pattern in mind. I really wanted to keep it random. I did incorporate the Dollar Tree flowers, so the bigger flower you see there is from the Dollar Tree. Just wanted to mix it up. My color scheme was teal and rose gold. I ended up adding some green later, and I did use a copper spray paint, but it was close enough. I glued a teal stud to the top of each of the 11 strings, and that's what I'm using to hang them on the wall. So on each of the dots that I created, I put a dot of hot glue, and then I put the little stud piece right up against that. I did not mind gluing this to the wall directly. It's just a little dot. This area needs to be repainted anyway, so I was fine with it. I proceeded to do that all the way across. For each of the 11 dots hung the 11 flowers. Here I'm just showing how I arranged the flowers on the string. I used a very small piece of tape under each flower to hold it in place. So I removed the barrettes that were holding the excess string and preventing the flowers from sliding down, and then I went around and arranged all the flowers. And this is the final result. I wanted it to appear as though there was nothing holding the flowers up. But then as I kept looking at it, I left it up for a few hours and I thought something was missing. So I did go back and update this. But in the meantime, I added this little bird. It has the teal in it, and I thought this was so cute. I got it last year at the Goodwill. So to add the rose gold effect, I've got these candles from Target, probably the end of last year, and I knew I was going to use them for the springtime, so I added those in and put some of the extra flowers around them. I figured the mantle needed some greenery and something to line the inside of the flowers. I had this fake plant for several years, and I was glad I found a way to repurpose it because I peeled the stems off and I used it to line the flowers. So I thought this looked a lot better, and I'm happy with it. This brings it together much better in my opinion. And next I'm just sharing how I created this wall hanging. This is part of my decor on the side wall next to the mantle. So I got a piece of wood and I sprayed it with the spray paint that I used for the other plaque that's on the mantle. It's a copper spray paint. I cut the sides off because I wanted it to be more of a rectangle, and I glued those to the back because I need to put nails through and the wood is very thin. I traced out an actual mason jar on the piece of paper and positioned it where I thought it needed to be. Once I had the jar there, I thought it needed to be a little longer, so I did extend it down a bit, and then I'm just using this as the stencil to add the nails. And you'll see that I'm going to add the nails going around on all the penciled part, and then I'm going to add the string. And once they're in, you can remove the stencil. Once I had the string attached, I literally just made up a pattern. So once I got started, I just kept going and just made it up as I went along. And if you're interested in doing anything like this, that's pretty much all you gotta do. And I'm just showing a close-up here of how I created this. And everything is very random. There was no rhyme or reason to anything that I did here. I thought this was a pretty cool way to make art, so I do plan to make some more things like this. I removed the stem and then slid the flower down under the strings, and then I added the stem back on and glued it in place. And here it is all done. Thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you in the next one. This mirror here, it was a Dollar Tree DIY. I will link below the full video. These were Dollar Tree frames that I used a mirror effect spray paint on, and I turned them into mirrors. So feel free to check out that full video. I'm just going to expand from there. I'm keeping it very simple. So the first thing I'm using is these bushels that I purchased a while ago at Marshall's. I have 2 of those. And then I just purchased this wreath from TJ Maxx this year. I actually cut a few pieces off of this wreath to add to my spring kitchen vignette. So I'm gonna hang this right from the top of that. And next I'm gonna add this cross. I purchased this a while ago at Burlington. I'm gonna add these tulips, and this little vase did come from the Dollar Tree, as well as the tulips. And next I'm gonna add in this bird cage that I just put together in a recent DIY. This is pretty much a Dollar Tree DIY. It cost me less than $5 to actually put this together. If you wanna see that video, I will link it in the description box. I added some pixie lights to the bird cage too, so I'll turn those on. I recently purchased this family sign at Burlington, which I thought would be perfect for right in the middle. And next I'm going to add some floral pieces. I got these a while ago. I used them last year in my spring decor. Now I'm just going to place them across the mantle. And that's my mantle on the top. And on the bottom here, I'm just gonna add this other plant that I got as a gift a while ago. So over here to the right, I have this shelf, and this is where I put this farmhouse centerpiece thing that I put together. This is also a Dollar Tree DIY. That video is linked here and in the description box as well. And then on this table in the same room, I have this Dollar Tree DIY that I put together a while ago. This is a napkin holder. I wanted something that I can decorate on the sides but still be functional with the napkins. Inside I put these fuchsia flowers and then put the purple flowers on top. And of course that matches nicely with this. Thank you so much for watching. I'll see you in the next one. Hey everyone, and welcome back to another video. Today I'm sharing a birdcage DIY that I made using this poster board, this burlap ribbon, these skewers, and this floral wire. I'm just showing here how I cut the floral wire into these smaller pieces. The red is what it originally looked like, and I had the gold form of it, and I cut it into all the same sizes, and I'm using a pencil and a measuring tape to create everything. So the first thing I'm doing is measuring 21 inches down on the poster board, and that's what I'm going to use for parts of the birdcage. And then I did little tick marks to show where I'm going to place the little skewers after it's all said and done. I cut these pieces down into 3 strips, which I will be using for the top and bottom of the birdcage as well as the lid. So I'm just placing these little tick marks on here. This is where I'm going to glue the skewers down as well as those floral wires. So these skewers actually came from Stop and Shop. They were only $2 and you get a bunch of them. I don't even know how many. So I'm using those little tick marks that I drew with the pencil, and I'm gluing those skewers right down onto each of those little tick lines. And I made them approximately a little more than ½ an inch apart. So that's the way I measured them, and I'm just gluing those on right here, trying to keep them as straight as possible. So this is the other strip that I used. I'm gluing the tops of the skewers down to the tick marks on the second strip, and then wrapped it around itself. And then I'm just going to glue these 2 pieces of the poster board together. I'm just going to set that aside, and I'm using that 3rd strip, and I'm taking the floral wire that was cut and I'm gluing those down to the tick marks on that 3rd strip. I took one of the extra pieces and I created a ring with it. And this whole process that I'm doing with these could have been much easier if I would have used an actual ring, but I wanted to keep everything basically from the Dollar Tree. So I'm just gluing that dome piece around into its circle. And so I'm just shaping it, and I'm just going to place it on top and see how it fits. And then I wanted to create a little loop at the top, so I took another little piece of that and then I wrapped that around the ring that I used at the very top. And it's holding here pretty nicely. So then I took it outside and used this Rust-Oleum spray paint to spray paint the entire thing white. And now I'm just taking that burlap ribbon. It had this lace piece already on it, but I wanted the lace to show a little more, so I cut off the top of the burlap part. And then I'm just going to glue that directly onto the bottom of the bird cage. And I did the same thing for the lid, except for I flipped the burlap the opposite way. You could easily use a poster board for the base of your cage if you wanted a base, but I had this extra piece of foam board and I'm going to use that for my base instead. And this did also come from the Dollar Tree. And this is how it looks now. I did not like seeing them in the cage, even though they were fake. So I put the flower in there, and then I decided to put the birds on the outside. And I actually liked how this turned out much better. So this is the final result. And this can be decorated with anything on the inside, candles, big greenery, flowers. There's so many different options with this.
and I wanted a bird cage for my spring decor and possibly even summer decor, and I figured it would be easy to make one. This idea came to me, so I just decided to put it together. So I hope you like it. If you did, please give this video a thumbs up, and I thank you so much for watching. I'll see you in the next one. So today I'm just sharing this wall art that I'm putting together using this canvas that I purchased from the Goodwill for $2.50 and this colorful tissue paper that I purchased at the Dollar Tree. And then I'm using Mod Podge and 2 paint brushes, and this paint here, this is actually primer, and I'm covering the canvas with that. The Goodwill, I have to say, is the perfect place to find canvases that you can redo. So here I am just creating the petals that will actually make the flower, and then I'm going to cut these out, and then I'm going to basically build the flower. So now that I have all the pieces together, it's basically going to build 4 different flowers, and I'm putting those little petals together to create this first flower. And this has 7 petals, and I'm just taping it together. This is going to be like my stencil that I'm going to use to cut out the tissue paper. And there, those are all done. So I'm just going to get my tissue paper out, and I decided to make each flower in each of the colors for the tissue paper, so I'm just cutting along the lines here, and here I'm using the Mod Podge to glue it down to the canvas. So I placed the Mod Podge underneath and then put the tissue paper down on top, and then painted over the tissue paper again with the Mod Podge just to seal it. And then I just went around the sides to show that the flower continued on the edges, and then I Mod Podged that down as well. And now that everything dried, I'm just drawing the actual petals in. So I have the center, I drew the center in, and then I drew the lines to show the individual petals. And now I'm just taking this glitter and this glitter glue, and I'm tracing out those lines and all the edges of the flower, and then putting glitter on top. I didn't put glitter on each of them, but some of them I did. All the ones that had 6 petals, I used the actual gold glitter, and then the 5 petals, I just used the glitter glue. And then I think I sprinkled a little glitter on some of those too, but for the most part, I tried to just make them all look a little bit different. And then after everything dried, I took the paintbrush to just wipe away all the extra glitter, and this is how it turned out. And here it is hanging on my wall. I hope you enjoyed this video. If you did, please give it a thumbs up, and I thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you in the next one. I'm going to be using these items shown here to create something to hang on my front door. So this frame is the Goodwill item that I purchased for $2. And when I bought it, it was just like the way you see it here. It doesn't have any glass, it's just a piece of cardboard, but I'm actually going to be using this cardboard to create something, and I hope you stick around to see the outcome. My plan is to wrap this burlap around the entire frame. So I use this as a little marker. I'm just going to cut it straight across. I'm going to cut this down to the same size as the board. And this piece of poster board I'm going to attach to the cardboard. I kind of want this to come out a little more. So now I'm going to paint this whole thing green. After it dries, I'm going to add this reindeer moss. I tried different colors for the letters, so I painted them with this light pink at first, and then I settled on this turquoise color, which is Americana paint in the color Waterfront. Now I'm taking that extra piece of cardboard and I'm attaching this to this. Now I will take the twine and I'm going to make a hole here and here. And once everything was put together, I flipped the frame over so I could place the sign. And that's it, and this is the final result. I hope you like it. If you did, please give this video a thumbs up and subscribe for more. I'm redoing my mantle in the same way, very similar to what I did for February for Valentine's Day. I actually kept this up for the whole month. So if you're not familiar with what I did to create this tree, I will link that video below so you can see everything, because I'm just going to transform this tree and make it more spring-like. So I'm painting the tree gold. And then I'm going to be using this cardstock to create paper flowers with my newly gifted Cricut. And I did different sizes of the flowers. So I had 2 5-inch flowers, 4 6-inch flowers, 5 7-inch flowers, and 2 8-inch flowers. And this is how they're all looking. I have the different sizes. It's hard to tell because you kind of have to loosen each flower and release some of the winding in order to make it sized correctly. All I'm going to do is use my glue gun to add them to the tree. This is the final outcome, and it's gonna stay for the month of March. Not sure how I really like it, but I am gonna leave it. And if I do anything different in April, I will definitely show you. But for March, this will be the look. For the winter, I had this pretty minimal Christmas decor, and these were the 2 pieces that I had on my 2 front doors before. And I'm just going to transform these pieces for spring. For this one, I'm just going to glue on 1 big paper flower for this one. Since I had the same idea here, I'm just going to continue that here. And these are the cutouts that I made on my Cricut in order to create this paper flower. I'm kind of improvising with it. then I wanted it to match the other one, so I took some of the gold pieces and just glued those right into the center. The little green part sticks out around the outside edge. And that's going to be for one door. And then for this one, all I'm going to do is cover this. I had a leftover piece of gray felt, so I'm using that to cover this flower here, making sure not to glue any bits of the felted flower underneath, because I think I want to use this again, not sure, but I don't want to damage it in any way. So I'm just being very careful to tuck those little edges in and then lay down this gray felt. And then I'm going to put some paper flowers that the same ones that I use on my flower tree, and then maybe a few smaller ones around. And then I think I'm gonna also add my Dollar Tree welcome sign, hang it with some clear thread so it looks like it's just floating. I completed the whole word with this chalk marker, and then I ended up using white chalk paint, and I lightly went over this with the white chalk paint over on top of the chalk marker, and the look was a little bit more what I liked. And then I'm just reinforcing it with some hot glue. And this is how it looks before I hang it up. Today I'm sharing a spring mantle update where I'm changing this golden tree with paper flowers that I had for the month of March, and I'm going to be updating this using a mirror that I purchased from the Habitat for Humanity Restore. This is the before, and I will show you how I'm going to change everything. I started out by painting the frame using black acrylic paint. And here it is after it was able to dry, and it is a very nice matte finish. And here I'm just using those same paper flowers from the golden tree, and I'm giving the mirror a little bit more decoration. And I had this floral from the Dollar Tree. This is just one little piece. I'm taking the greenery off of that, and I'm going to embellish the paper flowers with these. And now I'm just using this string and these wooden beads, and I'm placing the beads on the string, and this will be just some added decor to the mantle. I thought the beads will look great draped across this corner of the mirror. And then I'm adding these bushels that I've had for a while. I've used them many times before. I got them from Marshall's. And then I'm adding these birds to the ends of the mirrors, and I got those from Burlington. And I'm putting candles at each end. And just to add to the wooden aspect, I put these larger wooden beads that I already had stringed together. I'm placing those there. And then this wooden birdhouse over here. And this is the final look. I thought this was a great way to reuse the paper flowers and then incorporate that teal, light blue, turquoise-ish color into my color scheme. I love that color, especially it's great for spring. And this is how it's looking from different angles. And I thought the frame of the mirror being black matched great with the fireplace. As you see, it is darker. And then I placed this other little floral piece in the front there.
This year my spring decor slash summer decor kind of snuck up on me. I didn't know exactly what I wanted to do, but here I got this from TJ Maxx. I got two of these, one for this door and one for my other door. The other door doesn't really fit this because of how wide it is, but one of the really nice things about it is that these little roses, these flowers come off. They have like a styrofoam little stem here that's just wrapped around, and the whole thing comes right off. So I dismantled my second one. It has this little thing to hang. So here's the other one. As I mentioned, I just put the 3 roses here because it fits perfectly in that little glass piece. And then I'll show you here what I did to attach it. Just got a rope, some leftover rope from my rope shelf, and I attached the styrofoam pieces onto the rope like that, and it just hangs there. And then I attached it to the same little rope twine that it came with, and it comes with 7 roses, so that allowed me to use the other 4 on my mantle. And here that is. So I just incorporated things that I already had around my house. This cross here, I got it from Burlington a while ago. This little apple where you can put things in it, I got this from the Goodwill a while back. And I figured with using clear things, so I just brought out some more glass items. This candle and a candle holder that I got from the Goodwill, and a matching one is over here on this side. And then I just used these jars that I painted over with a mixture of acrylic paint and baking soda in a previous video, and styled it like this, and that became the color palette for the spring. Probably going into the summer doing the same thing, because I don't anticipate changing this because I really like how it looks. But it's just a pretty neutral and like soft toned. And then on either side I have my line art. So I did 2 additional pieces to match in this room with the ones that I have in another room. This little tulip, and then this rose over here goes with the theme that was unintentional there. Laid the paper down on a piece of plywood, and then I just glued the edges of each of these little trimming boards around to make the frame. And if you want to see the full tutorial of how I did this, I made 3 others in larger sizes, and I show the full process there. So that video will be linked below if you are interested. It will probably be also my summer decor. We'll see how motivated I am to change it. But thank you for watching, and I will see you in the next one. Today I'm going to be decorating this embroidery hoop for the rectangular door, and I'm going to be using these styrofoam balls for the oval shaped door. And I'm going to be reusing some of the faux roses that I used to decorate for a recent wedding. So if you want to see how these front door pieces come together, then I hope you keep watching. a sticky piece of Velcro. I'm gonna put the rough side of the Velcro on the wall up there, and then I'm gonna put the soft side on one of these roses. And then each rose is gonna have a string of roses attached. So I'll stretch this out, and then I will attach this to another rose, and then I'll stretch that other stem out, attach the next rose to each subsequent rose.